Hello, I'm Ross Tayler, your host and guide for Sacred Sundays, a space to slow down, tune in, and return to what's sacred within and around you. I'm also a life coach for empaths and sensitive souls, walking alongside those who are ready to come home to who they actually are. These conversations are part of fulfilling that purpose, a collective exploration of what it means to live in connection with the sacred. Some weeks you'll hear a sound-based offering to open the space. Other times we'll simply begin in conversation. However it unfolds, this is an invitation into presence, connection, and the beauty of the unseen. If these conversations find you, please subscribe, rate, and share so others can find their way here. Pour a cup of tea, settle in, and let's begin. Today we're honored to welcome Reverend Nicole Powell, a gifted medium and licensed, ordained spiritualist minister based in the beautiful Cowichan Valley. Nicole has devoted herself full-time to the practice of mediumship and spiritual teaching since 2015. She is the author of the teaching memoir, The Power, A Call to Mediumship, and is just weeks away from releasing its highly anticipated sequel, The Light, the Dark, A Journey to Wholeness. Known for her deep compassion and intuitive insight, Nicole brings a sense of peace and warmth to everyone she works with, whether through her readings, speaking, or teaching in the classroom. Welcome, Nicole.
Thank you so much for having me on your show today. I'm so blessed to be here, Ross.
We have known each other actually for quite a while, since about 2019, and we've crossed paths at different times. And I just love the fact that we both have this connection to Squamish and this history. And it's really been a gift to witness you doing your work now and the depth to which you do that work and to have known you before all of that started. It just feels really cool and special. And I've been excited to come together and have this conversation.
Yeah, me too. I'm so excited in knowing our timeline. And I think you said 2019, but it actually goes back to maybe 2008 or 2009. So
Right.
it's awesome just how this journey has continued to find each other as we've stepped along it.
Absolutely. And you're right. It was 2009. And I think it was a circle that was created by a mutual friend. And it was all inspired by a book called The Wisdom of Yoga.
It's funny, and I haven't even read that book.
Really? I actually picked it up when I was in Vernon again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just opening up to my gifts and I was like, I have to do something. So I was learning Reiki and I heard about these circles, psychic circles. So I thought, hey, I should go and join. And I remember I was 23. I was so nervous and I was walking in and there was your warm face and you were like, come on in. And I was like, oh, I'm safe here.
Oh, that's funny. I remember now answering the door.
Yeah,
I
you
remember
did.
whose house we were at too. That's super cool.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Because we must have crossed paths because I worked at Starbucks in Squamish for years. And so we probably crossed paths there first.
Oh, for sure. I was always
Yeah.
there.
All right. So Nicole is going to start by sharing a spirit guide attunement.
Mhm.
And so let's begin with that and then we'll circle back to conversation afterwards.
Sounds wonderful. Thanks, Ross. So, the reason I chose a spirit guide attunement is because in all my teachings and in all my readings, the number one request I receive is I just want to hear or feel my spirit guides more. So, I thought I'd take this opportunity to give you an experience so that you can have this exercise to practice on your own time to have a deeper connection with your guides. So I'm just going to invite everyone to put their feet on the floor and get grounded and in your chair very comfortably. And I just want you to close your eyes when you're ready. Now take a few deep breaths and just allow yourself to relax into the silence, into that stillness of being with yourself. Now I want you to go inward and connect to your heart and bring your attention to your body and its own wisdom, giving yourself permission to let go of your day, your stresses, and just allow yourself to have this next few minutes just to be with yourself and your spirit team. Now, I want you to find that place within your body that feels strong. This could be your knowing sense, your gut check, your gut feelings, or even just that place where you can always trust yourself. For me, it's just at that tip of the rib cage, right into my higher abdomen. And I want you to find that. And I want you to imagine or intend a light ignite within you. And if you can't see it, just imagine or intend that you can. And I want you to invite yourself to turn that light on and start to breathe that light into life. With each breath, I want you to allow it to grow bigger and brighter, starting to fill your inside, bringing that light into your chest and your arms, into your hands, and then radiating it down to your legs. Feel it fill your stomach and then move up to your head until your whole body is glowing with that internal light. It can be a golden white light, and it may feel revitalizing for you as well too. Take a moment to just allow that light to grow bigger and brighter until it starts to naturally fill into your auric field, which is your energy body all around you. I want you to see yourself as if you're inside a dome or a globe, and this light is radiating in your aura, waking you up, waking up your energy body, and helping you start to develop that relationship with your energy field outside of the physical presence. Now I want you to fill that light into the room you're in, touching the edges of the room. I want you to feel the presence of your energy just tapping the corners of the room, knowing that there's no limits to your spirit body. And then when you're ready, just coming back and just kind of radiating into your aura around you. Now we're going to very gently invite in our spirit guides. And we're going to ask for 2 guides that are helping you right now in your life with your spiritual growth and your development and your guidance, just to come and be with you. Ask them to wrap their arms around you and invite their presence on your left and right side. You might notice a shift in energy, presence with you, a lightness or even a density. You might notice a flash of color or just a feeling of connection. And however it is, it's right exactly for you. So we have 2 main guides here. And so we're going to start with the one on your right side. And I just want you to bring your awareness to the right side of your body and invite this guide to come closer than they've ever come before. Just ask for this attunement, this blend of your energies meeting together, knowing that your guide has your highest and best good. Your interest in mind is here to guide and support you, and to allow yourself to have this meeting and this intimacy of connection. Now, if you're sentient, if you're a feeler, you might notice a presence with you. Now, if you're more visionary, if you're clairvoyant, you may get a flash of color or a vision of a face, or even just noticing symbology around you. And if you're clairaudient or you hear things, you may just hear a presence standing with you, or maybe all of them, or maybe none, meeting yourself exactly where you are right now. So feel that presence and start to connect with this guide, allowing yourself to have this meeting and just becoming a witness to what you notice. Is it smooth? Is it energizing? Is it calming? Is there flashes of color? And know now that you've made this connection, you can come back to it at any time. So we're going to ask this guide to step aside now. and thank them for being here. And we're going to bring our attention to the left side and ask for this guide to come closer than they've ever come before. Feel their presence with you, around you, and you may notice that it feels different than it was on the other side. You may notice that this guide has a different energy signature or a different color or different vibration to attune with. Knowing that each guide that comes to you has its own essence and own reason for being with you to guide you on this journey of life. And that the two that have come together today have a reason for being here together. So just take a moment to blend and attune with this guide, noticing any subtle energy, any presence, and just taking note of what you notice and witness. And now this guide is going to step aside. And I want you to feel both of them at the same time connecting with you. And I want you to take a moment to feel this connection and what it feels like, how to get back here in this moment, and to allow this to be a natural part of your life, inviting your guides and attuning to their energy to be with you. Now I want you to thank them for being here and this introduction or this reunion if you've done this before. And I want you to come back to your heart and your presence within yourself, keeping that door open to them because we always want our guides with us. And now I'm just going to ask you to get a piece of paper and a pen and write down what you notice on the left side, the right side, in as much or as little detail as you can. And I want you to practice this as often as you need until you feel you can get there easily yourself and develop that connection. And once you start to recognize the connection you have with them, start to ask them for your support and guidance with things or signs or things to look out for, and develop this relationship as you would a friend. Just like how when we have a new friend, we call, we bring gifts, we're attentive, we share things, we find ways to connect. Because with your guides, it's exactly the same. They may be non-physical, but it's our job to connect with them if we want a stronger relationship. They have no expectations, but life just gets better or enhanced when you have your guides working with you to help you reach those higher states of consciousness and to make better decisions for yourself. Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole. What a beautiful gift. I really enjoyed that experience. And I just imagine so many of our listeners really appreciating that experience and perhaps connecting to their guides for the first time.
Well, yeah, giving people that experience to connect with their guides themselves has been very empowering and very fulfilling. It's almost like introducing people to a soulmate and they're like, "Thank you for making that connection for me." Like, it's like you set somebody up.
Hmm. And even for myself, I got to have a different experience of connecting with my guides in that
Right?
way. Yeah, I really appreciated feeling that.
Oh, that's so great. Yeah, it's surprising how as we change, they change, and different times in our life when we connect to them, they show up differently. So we can't get attached to who they once were.
Exactly. Wow, that's great. And I know that, there's different guides that can come in at different times as well.
Yeah, very much so. Because based on what you're into or going through or learning at the moment, we have different guides for each area of your life. And we pick up new guides as we evolve. And also, we have some that stay with us our entire life. And they're not people like you and I, they're non physical beings. So, for those that are thinking, like, oh, well, I didn't see anything or I just felt something, that's enough because you have to remember they are just energy. And
Hmm.
they may come as beings of light or color, and that may be their signature, but they don't have to show up in physical form.
Hmm. And that's a good reminder because for myself, I'm clairsentient and claircognizant. And so the clairsentience, it's like when I'm in groups and I hear other people describe their clairvoyant experience, I always, over the years, had this experience of like, well, why am I not having that experience? And
Yeah.
then really I've come to know that, oh, I'm having my experience and that's perfect.
And your guides will come to you in the best way that you can recognize them. And if it's through feeling and sentience, then that's perfect. And I always think that's the best one, anyways, because if you can feel something, it means you're alive, right?
Hmm.
We can misinterpret what we see, but we can't misinterpret what we feel.
True story. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, Nicole, you've been doing this now since 2015, and I'm curious, what is it now that is alive for you in terms of continuing to do this work? And what is it that brings the passion? And what is it that lights you up
Yeah.
about doing this work?
I'm going to backtrack a little bit because it was 2012 when I launched my business, but it was 3 years of working on evenings and weekends and banging my head against a brick wall before it started going. So, yeah, it was 2015 when all of a sudden it was like the floodgates opened and I was able to do this full time and to be able to quit my job. But when I think about back at the beginning, all I wanted to do was to help people and to be in this energy. And I read a lot of tarot cards and I did a lot of healings with people. And the mediumship started to open and it took over my life. And for the past 10 years, it's been a whole whackload of private sessions, readings, getting to know people, and now getting into writing. Where I'm at now in 2025 is I feel like a place of wanting to teach and educate and offer. I feel like I have so much knowledge of this profession working full time as a medium that I just want to like unleash it into the world and I want to share what I know because sometimes it feels like it's saved for, the covens or the secret circles or only for celebrity mediums. And I'm just a small town medium, right? That serves her community and her village. And so I really just love connecting with people and sharing my wisdom and really the stories of empowerment of how people can have their own connection with a higher source and that that's not reserved for just some.
I love that because I have encountered clients that I work with that are in places that, I mean, we're so lucky here in Vancouver Island. Like,
Mhm.
this community is so rich in terms of the healers that are here on the island, and that's not everybody's experience. So, what I love about what you just said is that there's people out there that need that because they don't have the community that we do. And to be able to reach out to someone like you that gives that grassroots approach to teaching and sharing this information, it's
Yeah.
that I love that. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, my friends opened up the Blue Caterpillar Emporium in Cobble Hill, like a metaphysical tea shop, and I've been doing presentations there. I got one this weekend on spirit guides. I've been renting out yurts with my friends, and we've been doing like circles with meditations and breath work and cacao. I mean, I just really want to do things in the valley here in Cowichan and connect with people and have those healing experiences, and they've been extremely fulfilling for me. And also just nice to be able to connect with people over long periods of time because like you, I've known you forever and I've gotten to know some of my clients and students and some of them have become some of the most dearest friends to me.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also wanted to touch back to the timeline because
Mhm.
2013 is when you arrived in the valley from the mainland, right?
I came at the end, 2012, and then I moved up to Cowichan in 2013.
Okay, okay. Because I remember working in 2013, like I think in September. So it's funny, it's like right around now
Yeah.
that I actually left Duncan. So it's like
Yeah.
a week away. And that was 2013. And I remember that because I was working at a cell phone store in Duncan and that's when I ran into you.
Yeah, I mean, I came up island and I needed a new phone. I walked into Telus and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's Ross again. And you got me a new phone, you got me a phone number, and I still have that phone number.
That's really funny.
But
Yeah.
yeah, we do have a way of running into each other when there's big moments. And I
Hmm.
was thinking about this because it almost feels like you're kind of like an accountability partner in this lifetime that we just kind of cross paths when we're really stepping into something new.
Right.
And so I kind of consider you as someone who's really good luck for me.
Oh, nice. I appreciate that. Because I think the next time after that was Matt Kahn in Vancouver, which was like
Yes.
2018.
2018. Yeah, I remember coming over to Vancouver and then sitting down and you were there. And, there's
Hmm.
300 people in the room. How did I end up sitting next to you? And I'm not surprised, but
Yeah.
again, major milestone change in my life.
Yeah.
That's when I started taking on the path of ministry. And so there you were sitting next to me.
I love it.
Yeah. And then you moved to Vernon too, didn't you?
That's right. Yeah. I went to Vernon. I was there for 4 years.
Wow.
And then of course arrived back at the island. And one of the first things I do is go to one of your mediumship sessions at, I can't think of the name right now. I always get it wrong anyway, but at the Spiritualist Church.
Yeah. Yeah, there you were. And then I was resigning that day.
Yeah. Which was really funny.
And then I see you again when I'm putting on a mediumship event up in Nanaimo, and I'm trying to do something new, and then there's Ross sitting in the front.
I love it. That's so great. So back to the mediumship.
Hmm.
What would you say to someone who is really doubting whether they have these gifts or not, or any gifts for that matter, because mediumship is really just a doorway to so many other things.
Yeah.
What would you say to that person?
I would tell them what I tell most people is you have to develop a meditation practice, because until you can be with yourself, you can't be with spirit, because you have to go inward. I always suggest people get a journal and start documenting things and asking questions in their diary or their journal to start to get inquisitive, because it is very much like as you get to know spirit, you get to know yourself. And that's where they're leading you, is inward. And just like anything else, like playing the piano or, learning to cook, you do have to put the time in and the energy. And the more you do, the better you get. And it's almost like you get rewarded the more discipline and time you invest into things. And in that practice is when you start to notice the natural gifts coming through. Now, for mediumship, you can't control what your gift is going to be. It could be healing, it could be psychic, it could be connecting with loved ones, or it could be art and creativity or music, or it could be everything. So in your practice of developing a connection to spirit, those things start to get revealed to you as gifts as you commit to it. For myself, I joined psychic circles. That's funny how I met you at my first one. But those practices and places are great ways to develop skills and development. And also just having a network and community or a place to go to be able to have like-minded conversations and friends.
Yeah, I love that. And that brings up a couple more questions, and maybe you can kind of weave them together. What would you say to someone about how to deal with the people in their current community that might have judgment around what it is they're doing? And
Yeah.
then the other is, what about people who don't have the community around them?
Yeah. Let me answer one question at a time and try and
Sure.
remember what your first one was. And it's funny. I just finished a reading, and what I said to her is what I'm going to say to you. There's some point in your life where your freedom becomes more important than the
Mm,
judgment of other people. And coming out of the spiritual closet is a journey for all of us. But there's almost like this moment where it's too painful not to, and you just don't care anymore. You know what I
mhm,
mean? It's like for me, I had close calls with death. I was having all these health issues. And if I didn't reach for spirit, I probably wouldn't be here. And wouldn't I want to share that with the world to people who actually cared? Because I know for myself, when there's people judging me, I probably shouldn't be hanging out with those people. And when I can be my true self, I start to magnetize the right people that are like me or complementary or synergistic, that we can all move forward in the right direction. And we don't choose our family, but we do choose our friends. And family may not understand, but that doesn't matter, because after a while they get used to it. And friendships, they evolve and change as you change anyways. So part of the path of spiritual growth and development is to reach a point of loving yourself enough to be your true self. So
mm,
that's what I would say to people about fear of judgment. And if you're fearing what people think, that's an inward job of more, how can you be more in alignment with who you are and your authenticity? Because
mhm.
your freedom is why we're here. We're here
Yeah.
to express our true nature.
I love that answer, and maybe I'll respond before you answer the second
Yeah.
question. It makes me think of so many in human design. There's different profiles, and
Yes.
there's so many people who they have this imposter syndrome because of
Yeah.
that profile. And I encounter many of those people, and I went through that myself as well. And
Yeah.
I think that plays into it. It's like, who am I to do this? I don't have letters behind my name or whatever it happens to be. And so there's a lot at play when it comes to that self-judgment around how do I bring this out into the world?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And like you, I don't have letters behind my name. I was a hairdresser and I went to energy healing school, but I don't have a PhD or anything like that.
Hmm.
For sure, I thought I needed to do that, but I feel my gifts work in different ways, which is
Totally.
more creative and expressively.
I remember that there was a therapist that I work with at the Chopra Center in Squamish,
Hmm.
and she came up to me one day. We were having a conversation about coaching, and I said, I'm
Hmm.
not really sure about the efficacy of coaching anymore because I'm doing my own work and diving into somatic work,
Yeah.
and I said I just really question coaching in some ways, and she says, "Oh, Ross," she goes, "it doesn't matter." She goes, "You're not a coach, you're a therapist." And I said, "I'm not a therapist, you know that." I said, "I haven't been to school." And she goes, "Yeah, that's exactly what makes you a great therapist." And I was
Yeah.
just like, wow. And then I had to work through the imposter syndrome around that. And it was a huge gift though, because it really opened up
Yeah.
where I've gone.
That's so true, and I'm so glad you're saying that because quite often clients will say to me, "Well, until I got the letters behind my name, no one will take me seriously." And I look at them, I'm like, "Yet you're seeing me and I don't have any letters behind my name." And they
Hmm.
go, "Oh, Nicole, that you're different." And I go, "No, it's not that I'm different. It's just that resonance, owning it and
Hmm.
staying within my lane, not pretending to be anything that I'm not or trying to, fake my way through." But life experience and owning your story, people are drawn to that because they go, that person can help me.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's the simple, I've been where you've been. I can relate.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I would much rather go to somebody who has wisdom and experience than just someone who has letters behind a name, but maybe a very general website. I probably would
Hmm.
right past that person.
Right.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I don't
So
remember your second question.
it's okay. I'm holding it for you. It was just a question of like, what would you say to people who don't have the community to access where they are?
Yeah, online community.
Yeah.
That's key, right? I mean, we're so blessed in the Cowichan Valley. You can't swing a cat without hitting a psychic, we like to say. And I kind of feel like we're in Glastonbury or Sedona, like we're in our own vortex or hub here
Hmm.
where people come from all over to get readings and go to metaphysical stuff here. So we are very blessed. But I noticed that in other communities where it's not known, you have to find what's available to you. At this moment, there's so much online community and
Hmm.
hubs and community, and to go to retreats when you save up and can meet people out of town when they have things like that. That would be my suggestion for sure. Yeah, you got to find it somewhere because I remember when I went to the Arthur Findlay College the first time, everyone's like, wow, I didn't know there was other people that did this work. And you find out there's 100 people in your class and they have courses running 48 weeks of the year. So there's a lot of people in this world who are into this work. They were just isolated and didn't know it existed.
It makes so much sense. And there is a whole world that we have access to that is so much broader than our immediate community.
Absolutely. And sometimes I remember when I moved to Lake Cowichan because it's a little out of the way, they're like, "Oh, why are you moving out there? They don't have any of your stuff out there." And I said, "I'm going to create it." And so that's exactly what I did. I started running circles in Lake Cowichan because if there's no community here, I had to create it for what I was interested in.
And that's exactly what Eckhart Tolle did. He just
Yeah.
started meeting and teaching in people's living rooms.
Yeah. Yeah. And just invite people over to your living room and run a little meditation circle or something like that. Sometimes it does mean putting yourself out there.
Hmm. And I've had the gift of witnessing you doing the group mediumship readings. And when I've watched you do the group sessions, I really feel a quality of like expertise and precision in the way that you do it that I haven't experienced in other ways before. How do you think you got to that place? Like how did you develop
Yeah.
your skills to be able to get to that place of comfort and confidence? And maybe that's why it's important to ask this question, is so that others have a feeling and a sense
Mhm.
of what your journey was.
I mean, I was a healer for 6 years before mediumship opened up. So I definitely was patient and I didn't even know it was going to come, right? I was quite content doing tarot readings and healings, and the mediumship just blew open when I was doing somatic therapy. It's kind of funny. But I was really blessed that the people in my community that I was in a mediumship development circle with said, "Hey, you got a real gift here. Why don't you take it further and go to some of the top schools that train people in this?" So I did. I went, to England, I went to Holland, I went to the States, and I just found who was in the top of this profession, and I just started dropping all my money into those places and learning, right? And I did that for about 8 years. And I got so passionate about it, I couldn't stop. And I got really good feedback. I took feedback. I was coachable and I trained. And then I made sure that I was available on the island to find safe places where I could do it. And for me, that was the spiritualist churches. And they allowed me to step up and start doing platform readings. So consistency, discipline, and showing up and doing that over time and taking feedback and training was how I got there. So I kind of felt like I was trained like an athlete. Once I kind of felt like I was in a groove with it, it started getting really fun, and I wanted to share that with others. And I started training other people to do that too.
And it really does show that you've had that level of practice, because it does make sense, actually, the training like an athlete. It lines up.
Yeah, I mean, it was every area of my life. I couldn't just compartmentalize mediumship. And then I think too, because I had a full-time practice, so it was my full-time job. So
Hmm.
I was doing it every day and learning from spirit every day.
Right.
And it's interesting because things have started to shift now. I don't feel as connected to it as I did before, and that my gifts are starting to open up in other ways. But that was a good 10 years of my life where I was just fully in it. Yeah.
And there's often talk of, or I've witnessed that some mediums, there's a physical impact that it
Mhm.
has on them. And I'm just curious if you've experienced that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you have to be really careful because you are working with a higher consciousness. So that energy can be quite um a lot on the body. It can, rev up your nervous system if you're doing it too much, or it can exhaust you. So I feel through that whole process, I really had to develop a deeper relationship with my body. And falling into exhaustion is still something I get met with quite frequently. So keeping enough space to move back from that. And for me, it's always kind of come out in migraines.
Mm,
I've had to not overdo it in that area. And at this point, I work 3 days a week doing readings and then, one or two other days doing other things. But that's a good balance for me. And I find if I can give any guidance to mediums is have it in a balance. Don't do it more than half your life because it will start to affect your health. And it's so important to stay balanced in areas of your life and to, when you're downloading such higher states of consciousness, it needs to express itself. And so that's how I got into art and music and writing, is because I had so much pent up energy, it needed somewhere to go.
And I think that wisdom applies to so many of us in all that we do, in the way that we
Yeah,
do everything. It's like we have to find that balance in our lives. And I think one of the things I say the most in sessions, especially in human design sessions, is we have to stop going so fast. Like we're
absolutely.
going way too fast in life, and we have to slow down.
We do.
And part
Yeah.
of slowing down is connecting with yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't stay up in the ethers forever, right? I mean,
Hmm.
we have to be humans and we have to embody the teachings, because when you're connecting to a higher source, they are passing through all this information and it imprints you, and you have to walk your talk and you have to be able to live your life. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So when you were talking about your journey, you made the comment that when you were doing somatic work, you blew open, and that's when your gifts come through.
Yeah.
And I'm so curious about that, because what do you think the mechanics of that were? Like, what is it
Yeah.
that actually happened there?
Yeah. So I think you remember I took the integrative energy healing program at
Right.
Langara, and that was when I opened my business as a healer. And then I was getting kind of bored and I was like, I think there's more school. So I started looking into somatic, and Langara was offering a new course program. It was trauma informed somatic and integrative energy healing at the time with this amazing trauma therapist.
Hmm.
So I went to Vancouver and I took the program, and I was halfway through the program And I remember I was like lying on the massage table receiving a healing, and something unwound in my neck. And it was like an old car accident, or I don't even know if it was car accident. I think it was like from being when I was on a bike and I fell off a bike, and something unwound in my neck. So it was like impact. And all of a sudden, I just remember looking up and there was like a presence of spirit. And it was like in the unwinding of being so tense and so trapped in my body, feeling so uncomfortable, it became expressed and something revealed itself. You know, we have to be brave when we start to look at areas of our body or our life where we have limitations, because behind that is always a gift, you know? And I feel with myself, the sensitivity was always there, but I was always trying to, eat my way through or kind of hold people at bay. I mean, I was a hairdresser, so I had to deal with a lot of BS. And I was always just kind of frozen, But in somatic work, I really unwound and relaxed, and I landed in my body. And then that sensitivity increased in a safe way. And it all happened through my neck.
Wow, that's amazing. So literally like the channel opened up through your neck.
Yeah. And the throat is the voice of spirit, and it's the bridge between the upper and lower world.
Right.
So when you do release the neck, a lot can come through that area.
Wow, that's amazing.
I barely finished the program because by the time the year ended, I was doing mediumship and I didn't even care about the program anymore.
I love that. I also love the reference to the BS that you put up with as a hairdresser, because I can relate to that. The 10 years I worked for Starbucks.
Oh,
I don't understand how my nervous system was able to do that.
You just shut down because people are talking at you and they treat you like garbage. And I didn't know any better. It was my first career, but I look back and I go, man, I put up with a lot. And I shouldn't have taken any of that. And that's still to date the hardest job I ever had.
I remember the day that I told a customer to F off. I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I can't do this anymore. Something's gone wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I want to ask one more question before we close. And perhaps you could just share a little bit about the book that's coming out soon.
Yes. So this is the sequel because I ran out of time with the first one. But that first one was just specifically about evidential mediumship and how I opened to mediumship. And the second book, The Light, the Dark, A Journey to Wholeness, is about what's next. So it's like you've had awakening, you believe in a higher power. Now it's the process of spiritual maturity and self-responsibility and living an intuitive life. So I share a little bit more about my story and how I got into intuitive aspects and development, and also learning about the shadow self and those other aspects of our life, because we can't just be light chasers. We have to accept ourselves as whole. And in that, we learn so much. And so this book comes out in a couple weeks, and I'm really excited about it. I feel very vulnerable in it. It's very me. I don't feel like I have any barriers on it, or I'm not trying to prove anything. And this book feels like it was a real turning point in my life, being able to read it. And it feels like almost like a revealing.
I love that. And I think we could talk for another half an hour just about the things that you brought up that are going to be in that book. But I think instead I'll read the book and buy the book. So I'm glad that you were able to share that.
Thanks, Ross.
And I always like to close with the same question. What's one simple way that you think someone could connect with the sacred today?
Just go inward into the silence. Just set your alarm for 5 minutes and just put your phone down and close your eyes and take a breath and just go inward and just be with yourself. That is the sacred. The address is right within you. We always look for something outside, but it's right there in you.
I love that. Thank you.
Thank you.
And for people who want to stay connected or explore more of your work, where's the best place for them to find you?
I think my website is kind of a good meeting ground. It's just nicolepowell.ca. It has links to my books and also my newsletter, which shows all my events that are both in person and online. And also it has a wait list for readings.
Excellent. And can people pre-order the book now?
Not yet. I'm doing it through Amazon, but I will definitely be letting everyone know on my newsletter the day it's published.
Okay, perfect. So happy to have had you here and to be able to have this conversation and the depth that you brought, and just so grateful for the gifts that you bring and the way that you work in the world, and be able to share that with you today.
I so appreciate you, Ross, and I'm so glad you're back on Vancouver Island so we can have reasons to connect. We must
I'm
be
happy.
really leveling up if we're back in each other's presence.
I know. I actually am. So it's
Oh,
great.
good.
Yeah.
Me too.
And to everyone listening, thank you for tuning in. And until next time, take good care. Thank you for joining us on Sacred Sundays. I hope something in today's offering spoke to your spirit, stirred something true, or simply gave you a moment to breathe. If this conversation resonated, please subscribe, rate, or share. It truly helps this work reach the people who are meant to find it. If you'd like to step inside my world a little further, I host a free live practice 3 mornings a week called Start With You. Just 20 minutes on Zoom to return to your own energy. Everything you need can be found at the link in the show notes. Until next time, may your day be slow and sacred.